So, but look, this is the thing about this. It's gonna fall apart. Islam, bro.
Islam. What's good, sis?
I'll show them my account too. Look, my page is coming out of mine.
What's going on, man?
See that? That means that you're using that.
Yeah, I'm trying to memorize stuff in it.
For real.
Yeah, because I might have to either glue it or get a different one.
Yeah, I hear that.
They doing another good job?
Everything's good, family. How y'all doing?
All right, good.
Proper. Good to hear. So what's on the agenda
But
today?
you all right, my bad. You like, well, you had to put it on me now.
What's on the agenda today?
Well, we have, I think everybody has a couple questions. Who's on?
I got a question.
Yeah, we can start up with that.
He wrestled with his question. Keep saying it. He's not going to be the last one this time.
I was just reading up on RB Bay, the Declaration of the Rights of the Child.
Right.
If a child is born in a hospital and the parents decide they don't want to sign that birth certificate, what's the process with that?
That's a hard one because I don't have any children,
Right.
but
I mean, will that child be acknowledged by the government as a natural citizen, or no?
well, what we have to remember is that the government's us, not those people.
Right.
So once we have that as our mentality, that we're actually the government,
Right.
then you would know where the child's allegiance lies,
Mm-hmm.
right? From experience, I know people. The best way to do it would be to have get an affidavit. Like if you can either find out from whatever office in that jurisdiction deals with vaccination forms and things of that nature, right? Or if they are affiliated with a temple or whatever, they can have the head of the temple just draft up an affidavit that the child doesn't.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But ultimately, it comes down to the parents naming the child, or let's not even say that, because let's see. Excuse me. Let's do this instead. All right. All right. So Black's Law, right? Child, see children, progeny. Child of tender age or years. Such a child must be less than 14 years old. A minor more than 15 years of age is not included within the meaning of the term. Child's part. A child's part which a widow by statute in some states is entitled to take in lieu of dower. Okay, so, all right, natural child, right? Natural child, a bastard, a child born out of lawful wedlock, but in a statute declaring that adopted shall have all the rights of natural children, the word natural was used in the sense of legitimate. Illegitimate children who have been acknowledged by the father, the child by natural relation or procreation, a child by birth as distinguished from child by adoption, a child by concubinage in contradistinction to a child by marriage. So what we have to do is get away from certain terms, right? So if you are saying offspring from the start, then they don't have jurisdiction, because they can only deal with childs and wards and minors, etc. Right?
Okay.
So nothing's wrong with going to the hospital to have the child delivered, to have the offspring delivered, but you would have to keep in mind that once they put that little thing on the hand, on the wrist, right? That's basically the shackles, right? So if you are gonna do it in that nature, opposed to home birth with a midwife, etc., you could also bring the midwife to the hospital as well, and just use the hospital for the fact that they have a bed and whatever things that you need, but have the midwife deliver.
Okay.
That way their hands are off it.
Right.
Because it I mean, from what I understand, that's what it really comes down to, them actually getting their hands in it.
Okay.
And then once their hands are in it, now they can make a claim.
Right. Okay.
And then remember also that even if you are coerced, etc., to go the route of the birth certificate, right, that the birth certificate instrument is void ab initio. So it's void from its inception. So even if you get it, you can still disclaim it after.
Okay.
And then two, that when you name your offspring, that you name your offspring a name that's not European.
Right.
And put LRB on it.
Okay.
And then that also takes away their power to do the whole bond thing too, because they can only do that on European names.
Okay.
Full Joe. Full Joe.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I believe I read somewhere also when it comes to them trying to pull the jurisdiction thing as it relates or as it pertains to childbirth and to, in the hospital. Even if parents sometimes don't want to sign birth certificates, from what I understand, they have an agreement with the federal government. The hospitals and the states get funding from these hospitals based on the number of birth certificates that they get.
Right.
Because those birth certificates are basically their power of attorney. Well, they have to do the SS5 form in order to get access to get that Social Security card,
Right.
which gives them power of attorney over that trust that we were just talking about.
Right.
Birth certificate bond. Is that correct, or am I missing something?
No, well, it's technically, yeah, that's how it would work, right? But remember, they're not federal anything.
True.
They're not. Their position is strictly administrative, and our assumption of them being federal, being legitimate, is what gives them their power to say birth certificate, bonds, trust, etc., etc. But if we trump them from the beginning, like for example, once you go in there, anything that you do with them, reserve your rights. That's a more powerful tool than people give it credit for it. You know, just doing the all rights reserved, UCC 1-103, UCC 1-307 before you sign is a good practice. You know, to just do, it's supposed to be just second nature, first nature. You know, that once you see the line, you're putting that on the line before you sign.
You put it on the line before you sign.
Yeah. Right?
Okay.
So and by you doing that, that allows you to revert to your nationality at any time.
So like my name is Mark. So because I haven't declared nationality yet, I can still use that, correct?
Right. Well, just like we were saying last week, nationality is a mindset.
Right.
Right? So, you know, the proclamation and declaration of nationality is putting it out there in paper form, card form, out of your mouth, etc. Right? But if you have it in your mind, you're national. It's just that it hasn't been put out there like that. And because of, you know, this is why, you know, the thing of going at dirty Moors for myself is why I go at them, because it's their lack of doing what they're supposed to do is why it's not just a mind frame. You know, like for example, if I'm in front of you and I tell you I'm Kudro Adwa L, you shouldn't need any ID from me. Like I'm the ID. What more do you need than seeing me in front of you to know that I'm the person that? So you're telling me that this card is gonna verify who I am when I'm standing right in front of you, right? And that's how easy it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be as hard as it is right now, where, you know, you gotta have a card or show some papers. Oh, well, you know, we don't want to accept the papers because it's not notarized. You know, I don't know who these 3 witnesses are, so we can't accept it. Whatever. It's not supposed to be that hard. You know, think about, you know, the prophet going all over the world. How is he going all over the world? How is he going into a Pan American conference and all that? You know, he was showing ID? No, they saw him. He said who he was, and all right, I guess you are who you say you are, because you know yourself best, right?
So a little bit more on the birth certificate. If the child's mom signs it, but the father doesn't, is there any way that it can be reversed, or is it just done?
Well, you can. This is where it comes in with being lined up universally with the people who we're going to have children with.
Right.
So we don't have this separation of perspectives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, come back again, dirty Moors, if they did what they did, what they're supposed to do, you know, we would have had the CMB lessons, which includes that part of the teachings, right? Making sure the universe is in approval with who you're with, right? But you know, if only one parent signs it, that makes it a linear contract, because both parents are supposed to sign it. And if only one parent signs it, then either one parent is in allegiance with the state to steal that child's birthright in order to get a birth certificate, right? Or the children's services or some third party who has nothing to do with the procreation of that child put their name on it, which makes it fraudulent. And then you could argue that point. But you know, but remember, you know, there's no, you know, the last thing you want is a woman scorn on you.
Right.
Because, you know, she'll straight keep you from seeing your child and all that. Just because, you say that you're a Moor and you want your child to have L on his name, and she doesn't want that. And I only know that because I'm talking with brothers right now that's going through that right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like right now they're going through that split of perspectives.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where, well, her family doesn't say, oh, Moors, I don't know what that is. I don't want to hear nothing about that or whatever. You know what I mean? And he, and then he's on the studies, and he's showing evidence and, backing everything up, and, it's legit, birth certificate fraud, all that, and it's going nowhere because, you know what I mean? There's that clash of wills, So, it's ultimately it's the instruments are void from their inception because the people who are issuing them don't have any authority in this land to even issue them. Right? For the sake of the offspring, if it's a hassle like that, you might just want to keep her happy until the offspring is of age to make decisions for their own on what they want to do. Because you don't want to be in the situation where you push the envelope to the point where you're ousted from the offspring's life, and once you're out now, when that offspring becomes of age, guaranteed, so much stuff got filled into that offspring's mind by the mom about deadbeat and all that type of stuff. Then I'm gonna want to have nothing to do with you when they become of age, anyways.
So would you say, in a situation like that, sign the birth certificate, just reserve your rights?
Exactly. Just reserve your rights. If she doesn't want to do it, hey, that's her birthright. It's her birthright. If she doesn't want to reserve her rights, then cool. But make sure that at least you reserve yours. You know what I mean? So if something does kick off, right, you can revert to at least your nationality and save your offspring.
That was where I was going with that. So while you were reserving your rights, you were saying this is my offspring. While you signed it, you reserving your rights. So in turn, you reserving the offspring's rights at the same time, right?
Right.
Okay.
Because the offspring can't sign for him or herself.
Right.
So the guardian has to be the one that is taking the steps to do that. Even if it's try to come to an agreement that we'll call him Jason or whatever, but we'll put L in brackets. Or or you do the first name, I'll come up with the last name or something. So at least you can put your spirit on the contract, because if it's and again it goes it goes both ways. There are situations where it's the sister that's on the knowledge, and the man's not trying to hear that. You know what I mean? He's supposed to have my name. You know what I mean? It's my son or whatever, so he's supposed to have my name. My name is Franklin. I want him to be Franklin Jr. Well, Franklin's a European name. Like, why are you gonna name your son European? Well, it's not European. My dad had this name. My granddad had this name. You know what I mean? We got real dynamics going on.
It could possibly be wrong. I was raised this way.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like people who choose to eat pork because their grandmother ate pork and she lived to be 99 years old. And they're not even considering tapeworm or nothing like that. You know what I mean? So, it's a work in progress. You know what I mean? But at least, if one of the parents' perspectives is correct, then that offspring has a chance. You know what I mean? Right? Because you can use thought power to get information to people, without speaking to them. You know what I mean? Candle magic and all that. You don't necessarily have to be there to speak in somebody's ear to get a message to them. You know what I mean?
I have something I want to ask about, like the name corrections. I see where it says for your two witnesses.
Right.
As far as that part of making it known and everything for the two witnesses that they need to be Moorish nationals.
Yeah, it would be better. It would be more in your favor. So at least that way they can defend it.
Okay. See, like this is like our situation. We all are going to nationalize on paper, but we don't have any. We are each other's witnesses.
Right. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. You know,
Another thing I see where, as far as a Moorish notary, those,
well, you know, the Moorish notary, that's you. Because you have a seal. You have a seal called a thumbprint, which is more powerful than a notary seal, especially if there's three of them. You know, so the three of you have the power to notarize your own documents, right? Witness for each other, because that's all that you have, right? And if you go the route of a quote unquote notary, you know, it's not like you're giving them jurisdiction, because all the notary's doing is witnessing that you are who you say you are, and I've read this document, and what this person said is true, and they stand by it, so I'm going to put my seal as a notary on this document to prove that they are saying who they say they are. But really the power is in the witness, right? So okay, let's go there quick fast. Witness. In general, one who, being present, personally sees or perceives a thing, a beholder, spectator, or eyewitness. One who testifies to what he has seen, heard, or otherwise observed. A person whose declaration under oath or affirmation is received as evidence for any purpose, whether such declaration be made on oral examination or by deposition or affidavit. A person attesting genuineness of signature to document by adding his signature. One who is called upon to be present at a transaction as a wedding or making of a will, that he may thereafter, if necessary, testify to the transaction. Accused, by availing himself of statute, providing that accused shall be competent witness at his own request, but not otherwise, assumes position of witness. Right? So the person, all the witness is doing is verifying that, yes, I've read this document, or I've witnessed this act, I've seen this act take place, and I'm going to put my signature on there too, with this other person, being entity, whatever, to verify that what took place did take place.
I was saying, you know, it's funny how we've been trained and conditioned to look at things in a certain way.
Yeah.
And, you know, just making a simple observation that I explained to us, like, who got what we need right here, you know? Because we're thinking that we don't have those ties to temples and stuff, which we don't.
Right.
This is our home. I got a question for you, Brother Cujo.
Yeah.
Been doing some, I was a little hard-headed, I gotta be honest.
That's all right.
But I wasn't doing it for the wrong reasons, and I wasn't deviating from what you told us last week. I was actually looking for a Moorish American flag I could actually post outside my house.
Right.
And So some of the websites that I was looking on, nobody really had them. They had the Moroccan flag with the 5-point star, the green 5-point star, and then just the red canvas.
Yeah.
But you didn't find the one with freedom, truth, justice, and love, peace. But yeah, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. They didn't have that one anywhere where you could actually buy a full-size flag. So I found a custom flag maker. And anyways, make a long story short, I was on a website. It was like MoorsAmericanTemple.com or something like that.
All right.
And they had for people, newcomers coming in to the nation.
Sorry, keep talking. I'm hearing you. I'm just gonna get something.
Okay, they had a class, a law class, that all of the new new members coming into the nation, would have to study and of course in law and pass it. There was a couple of classes, but law was one of the ones in particular that they had.
Yeah.
They were talking about the contracts, and they listed a whole bunch of contracts, different types. It had to be like 20 different types of contracts. And so I ended up looking into the meaning of the fez and the different levels of knowledge that you have to have in order to wear certain types of fezes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So our main concern is our mentality and knowing who we are.
Right.
Second to that would be knowing the law, because that is our sword when we're dealing with what we're dealing with.
Right.
So is there anywhere that you can recommend that we have a structured coursework of law to study, so they can give us, okay, these are basics that you're going to need to know coming out the gate, then progress to this and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Really well, let me touch the flag thing first. Moorish Americans, Moors, individuals who know about their nationality and birthright, if they are not using Noble Drew Ali's reference points to teach, you don't need to listen to them, because they're going to lead you off some cliff somewhere and have you dangling, and you need to pay them some fiat for them to pull you up off the cliff. But if you go to Noble Drew Ali's work and you study what Noble Drew Ali brought, you would see that he already did everything. And all these people saying that they want to do classes and it has to be broken down for the people and all that, they're just trying to get a position of power. Because if they want people to know law so bad, right? There's all these contracts out there and all that, and they have the knowledge that these people are under all these contracts, and these people should be free from these contracts. Why don't they just do like what we're doing and put the info out there? You know what I mean? Like why are people taking it on themselves to claim info like it's theirs, and then they're putting it out there in pieces or in parts or with a price tag attached to it, right? I'm not gonna say that they're dirty, but you know what I mean? It's like, if I could call up Brother Taj, I can call up Brother Fonteas, I could call up Sister Anaid, I could call up Sister Raz, Grand Sheik Nature, Alim Bey, whoever out there that I consider master teacher, and I can get the lessons from them for free. Why am I going to go to this guy, pay this guy $300, $200, $50 or whatever to learn from him? And most of the time, when you learn from them, you're going to get a wrong perspective of what it is, right? And I'm saying all that just to show you how clear Noble Drew Ali was with what he was saying to the Moors, right? So when we have some things that you can get online, for example, is the 101 questionnaire. right? If you go on our website, it's on our website, canaanlandmoors.webs.com.
Canaan, what is it?
canaanlandmoors.webs.com. And we're just going to read through some of the some questions in the 101 questionnaire, right? Question 12. Well, question 11. Where was Noble Drew Ali born? In the state of North Carolina, 1886. Question 12. What is his nationality? Moorish American. Question 13. What is your nationality? Moorish American. Question 14. Why are we Moorish American? Because we are descendants of Moroccans born in America. 15. For what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? For the uplifting of fallen humanity. Question 16. How did the Prophet begin to uplift the Moorish Americans? By teaching them to be themselves. Question 17. What is our religion? Islamism. Question 18. Is that a new or is that an old-time religion? Old-time religion. And this is related to the flag. Question 19. What kind of flag is the Moorish? Right? What kind of flag is the Moorish? And you made the statement that you're looking for the Moorish flag, right? Which flag are you looking for?
Was it American flag?
All right. Okay, so if Noble Drew Ali made the statement that our nationality is Moorish American and his nationality is Moorish American, and he's telling us that he's asking us, but he's giving us the answers as well, right? So he's asking us, what kind of flag is the Moorish? And the answer is, it is a red flag with a 5-point green star in the center.
That's it. That's for the Moorish flag, right?
That's the Moorish flag.
That's not the Moorish American flag, right?
There's no Moorish American flag.
Well, there is no Moorish American flag. So I guess I was confused when I was reading, because it showed the Moorish flag being red background with the green 5-point star.
Yeah, with the scimitar. It has the scimitar, and then it has the love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice on it.
Right.
Right. Now that was really emblem at the back of the adat badges during the Prophet's time. And people took it and made it into a flag because their perspective of the Moorish flag, the 5-point green star on the red banner, is Moroccan, right? But when we do our research, well, before we even do our research, right? Question 20. What do the 5 points represent? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Right? So if we have a flag, one, that's Moorish, and he's saying that it's a red flag with a 5-point green star, and then that the 5 points on the star represent love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, doesn't that mean that love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice is on the red flag with the green 5-point star?
Yeah.
And we don't have to put it on there? It's already there, based on the points, right? Question 21. How old is our flag? It is over 10,000 years old. Right? So if our flag is over 10,000 years old, and it's the flag with the 5-point green star in the center, with the red background, and Morocco just got this flag in 1956, is it theirs? So whose flag is it? Right?
Right.
If the flag is 10,000 years old, right, according to Noble Drew Ali, and keep in mind too that there's a 101 questionnaire and then there's a 102 questionnaire. And the 102 questionnaire has some different answers than the 101 questionnaire. So the 101 questionnaire says 10,000 years old. The 102 questionnaire says 50,000 years old.
I read that. That's why when you said 10,000, I didn't say that. Like, maybe I'm wrong.
Right?
But I read that 50,000.
Right. So if the red flag with the 5-point green star is 50,000 years old, right? Then the people who are over in North Africa, they have no claim on that. They can use it because, you know, over there is called Morocco as well. But over there, called Morocco, is a kingdom. And all kingdoms, I don't care where you go in the world, are subordinate to empires. And over here is the empire. And the United States of America Corporation got permission from the Sultan of Morocco to do business in the Americas. But that was in 17 something. Okay, but Morocco in Africa came about in 1956. So they weren't talking about some North African country that gave the United States of America permission to set up over here. Because they weren't even around. There wasn't even nothing called Morocco on that side yet. Right? The jurisdiction of Morocco, like we read last week, extended from, right, you go to chapter 47, again, once we study what Noble Drew Ali brought, it eliminates all the confusion that people are putting out there to try to get you to come join their thing. When Noble Drew Ali laid it all down and laid it all out for the Moors. And Moors take what Noble Drew Ali brought, splinter it up into different parts, whatever, take piece out, take some of it, and make it sound appealing to people so they could join their thing. Opposed to telling the people, go join the temple, and if you have a problem with how the temple is running, don't get mad at the temple, get mad at the leadership and kick their asses out the temple. And leave the temple alone, because the temple didn't bother anybody. It's an institution. Right? Nobody, when you listen to Moors talk out there, right, that have negative against the temple, they always talk about they have a negative against the temple. They never talk about the leadership that's playing them. Never. They always talk about the temple. Oh, the temple's bad. Oh, the temple's like a church. Oh, the temple's this, that. The temple's this, the temple's that. So you're really telling me that a building or an institution did that to you? Really? So what about the guys who are in it? Oh, well, you know, forget about those guys. The temple's the problem. How can the temple be a problem? That's like you have a drink and you're blaming the cup that the drink tastes bad. This drink tastes bad. Throw this cup away. Right? The dominion their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa, across the Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, Central America, also Mexico and Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. Right? So the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, not the Moroccan Kingdom, the possessors of the Moroccan Empire, the jurisdiction extended from over there to over here. Right? And being that it went from over there to over here, right? We're going to go back again to Noble Drew Ali, right? Question 30. What was the nationality of Ruth? Ruth was a Moabitess. What is the modern name of Moabites? Moroccans. Where is the Moroccan Empire? Northwest Amexem. What is the modern name of Amexem, Africa. Right? Like, Noble Drew Ali laid everything out. There's nothing that Moors have to do other than forget everything that we were taught, given, whatever, by all these leaders that claim to be leaders. Throw it away, put it to the side, whatever. Do whatever you want with it, but don't study it anymore. Leave that stuff alone. And consider, even if it's an hour, for an hour, just consider what Noble Drew Ali brought. Just consider what he brought. Take his stuff, read through his stuff, and see, okay, what's he saying? And not only read through his things to see what he's saying, but go cross-reference it with other sources. See if the Moroccan Empire is legit. Like in the Circle 7, it says Moroccan Empire. All right, so you go research Moroccan Empire. See how many people talk about that, and is it legit? How real is it? Or is is it fairy tale? Or you're not Negro, black, colored. All right, check that out. See how legit that is. Is there really people called that on the planet? You know, if you go ask people from other nations, because remember also too, right? What in the questionnaire, he said that what our nationality is. He said what your nationality is, his nationality, and then he said the nationality of Ruth. He didn't say it was the race of Ruth, like how some people talk, or, you know, what color was she. This is Ruth. This is thousands of years ago. He's talking about nationality of some lady that we never met. And he made the statement that the modern name of Moabites, which Ruth is one, right? The modern name of Moabites is Moroccans. And Moroccan is the long form of Moor. So all those people that have, you know, that go on DVDs and, you know what I mean, say that Moor means black and Moor means, you know, North Africans and Moor means whatever, it's a fraud. Because Noble Drew Ali taught that Moroccan is the modern name of Moabites. Both of them start with M-O. Moroccans and Moabites. And what's the short form when you hear Moors talk to each other on Facebook? Islam Mo. Isn't Mo M-O? Which starts with Moroccan and Moabite. Right? But if we don't have Noble Drew Ali as our compass, we're gonna get lost. Which is what happens to everybody. They get lost. They don't know where east, west, north, south is. They're just sailing wherever. And then they hear things and, you know, they don't have a reference point, so they accept what's presented. Because they don't have a reference point, when Noble Drew Ali is the reference point. You know? And it's not, and he made everything small, so it's not advanced. So it could be easy. Actually, let's touch on the flag thing again, quick, fast. There's this book right here, right? Grand Governor Heru, Ranisi L, in Atlanta, Georgia, right? Big Gigi, the big Grand Governor, has a book called A Flag Above Any Other. And then you could contact Brother Heru, just let him know Cujo sent you. His email is amirheru9@yahoo.com. AMIRHERU, the number 9@yahoo.com. And just tell him Grand Sheik Cujo sent you. Right? Just make sure you let him know Cujo sin. Right? And he goes over the same lesson. Right? The supreme executive ruler of the Moors, the Redeemer and Prophet, Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, Noble Jew Ali, 1886 to 1929 AD, informed the Moors, Moorish Americans, so-called Latinos, African Americans, those Aboriginal indigenous of the Americas that, question 19, what kind of flag is the Moorish? It is a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center. 20, what do the 5 points represent? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is through that flag that nations are known to other nations. Your flag tells who your forefathers and foremothers were, and indeed who you are. The flag informs those in the know where your territorial boundaries are, as well as where your allegiances lie. It informs the families of nations who your permanent population is. The flag symbolizes one's nationality and birthrights. That is, it shows that a people have stated their claim to land through the right of the soil. The flag is an emblem of the historical legacy and struggle of the nation it represents. It is the pride of the people and a symbol of unity in times of national crisis. It enables the people to focus their collective energies upon a single point of divine nationalism, Islamism, to call upon and stir up the ethers, to summon the energies of their ancient forefathers, the Egun, Shepsu, to move forward beyond the storm. The flag of the Moors is the Al-Moroccan flag of our ancient forefathers, which flew in the Americas for well over 10,000 years when the land presently called the Americas was held in dominium, meaning under absolute control of the Moorish Moabite Empire. One has to merely reference the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between U.S.A. and Morocco, drafted in 1786 AD, ratified in 1787 AD, re-ratified in 1836 AD, and held at present in force, to see the Moorish territorial sphere of influence being documented as an empire spanning several continents. Empire denotes several nations and territories. Note, nation is subordinate to empire, ruled by a single authority. In the case of the ancient Moors, this single authority will be the Sultan. Key number 34. So then we go, right? So then we go to, this is how you know true Moors. Because what true Moors do is, when they write literature, they always refer you back to Noble Jew Ali so you can do your research into what the Prophet said. Forget what everybody else said. Forget what Grand Governor Hiru said, right? He told you, in the case of the ancient Moors, this single authority would be the Sultan. And he told you, go to key 34. And then you go to key 34, or question 34 in the 101 questionnaire. What is the title given to our ruler in Morocco? Sultan. Right? So that verifies that Noble Jew Ali is saying the same thing that he's saying. The post of Sultan in Moorish government post 1928 has been lawfully revised as Grand Sheikh in Act 1 of the Moorish Divine Constitution, with the addition of the posts of Chairman and Grand Body, legislative body for checks and balances, under the authority of Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, Prophet Noble Jew Ali, Prophet of the Moors in the West. Since the Moorish Empire was overthrown militarily, states and nations have carved themselves out of what was formerly one connected empire, ruled under a single authority. Thus, in the North Gate, you have 50 corporate subsidiary nations united in commerce under the main corporate headquarters called the U.S. Federal Democracy, or Washington, D.C., which is not even a state. It is a mere district. In Central America, there are nations of Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama. However, in reality, Central America is merely an isthmus of North America and South America. An isthmus is a narrow strip of land bordered on two sides by water connecting two land masses. Thus, North, Central, and South America constitute one land, America. South America is comprised of nations of Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, the Falkland Islands, French Guiana, Guyana, Paraguay, Peru, South Georgia, and the Sandwich Islands, Suriname, Uruguay, and Venezuela. These are the lands formerly a part of the Moorish Empire, and its inhabitants are Moorish Americans, despite customs or religions. In order for the colonial European families to rule the complete breadth of the Moorish Empire, it became a necessity to fragment the empire by altering names, dates, borders, holy texts, priesthoods, burning massive amounts of books, forcibly amalgamating himself with pure Moorish bloodlines, introduce chattel slavery, institute a 3/5 clause, and a host of other divide and conquer and rule tactics. The Moorish family is large, being that it is a global family. Thus, it became a necessity to divide the family to weaken the strength. Always remember, the whole is greater than the part. Symbology of the Moorish flag. A flag is a national emblem used to focus the direction and collective energies of a nation. When a national flag is raised, it should elicit feelings of nationalism and inherent connection to one's kindred based on the common pedigree ancestral lineage. The colors of a flag, through time, become etched on the collective psyche of the nationals, citizens of a country. The eternal colors of the Almoroccan flag, red and green, have been sacred to the Moors since time immemorial. In the words of Brother Murad Bey of Moor Science Temple number 19, Atlanta Territory, Georgia State Republic, these colors don't run. Red is symbolic of fire, blood, energy, war, danger, passion, desire, and love. It denotes high visibility and demands attention, which is why stop signs and traffic lights contain the red color. It also denotes courage. Green is symbolic of nature, natural law. It symbolizes money, success, growth, vitality, emotional safety, healing, has the ability to improve vision and hope. In ancient Tamaray/Egypt, the land of the Moors, the color red was called Desher, and green was known as Waj. In ancient Moabite, the color red was Amar, and green was Adar. Red to the ancient Tamarayans, Kemu, ancient Egyptians, was the color of life and victory, fire and anger. Set, the ancient Tamarayan Egyptian Neteru godman, who represented necessary chaos, was chronicled to have red eyes and hair. Eshu Elegba, the divine trickster and messenger of the Orisha in Moorish mysticism, is the bearer of the color red as well as black. The ancient Egyptians made red by making a mixture containing naturally oxidized iron. Iron relates to Mars, the planet of war. Green to the ancient Tamarayans, ancient Egyptians, was symbolic of vegetation and new life. Asar Osiris, the Neteru godman of the ancient Tamarayans, was depicted as being a green hue. Green was made by making a mixture containing copper. Copper relates to Venus, the planet of love. Red was also the color of the Hashemite dynasty of Moors, also known as the Sharifs of the holy city of Mecca, descended from Muhammad I of Arabia, a descendant of the ancient Tamarayan Egyptians. Green was the color of the Fatimites, descendants of the daughter of Prophet Muhammad and Prophet Muhammad I. The union of the two colors also denotes the uniting of the two clans, the masters of the hot burning sands, by birthrights under one nationality, Moorish. And there's way more that we could go into, right? So that's Grand Governor Heru's book. A flag above any other. Because when you do your research, you find out that this flag is the first flag ever. And every flag that you see on the world today came out of that flag. That's how universal the Moors are. So for people to say that, you know, and don't get it wrong, you know what I mean? Like, you know, in the temple, we have that flag. You know, we have all the flags flying. We have the so-called Moorish American flag flying, and we have the Moroccan flag flying. Right? And for to get the Moorish American flag, as they call it, you can go to Seven Seals Publications or MoorishAmericanGov.org. And another reason why I rep that flag is because I'm a divine minister under that flag.
Which flag are you referring to?
The Moorish American flag.
Okay.
Right? Because I'm a divine minister of the Moorish American national government for Ontario Territory. Office of Education and Truth. That's why I put out so much stuff.
Where are you located at, brother? Are you in Ontario? Is that where
Yeah, I'm in Ontario. Yeah, we're in Ontario, right? And remember, Ontario is part of the Moroccan Empire. There's no jurisdiction called Canada or U.S. Everything above Mexico is Morocco.
Everything above Mexico?
Everything above Mexico is Morocco. There's only two nations above. There's two nations above the isthmus, and that's Mexico and Morocco. All right? Let's go there quick fast. I can't find what I'm looking for, but you go to RVB publication and get this book. Moors and Mexicans. Right? And this one's on RVB publications. Moors and Mexicans and other South Al-Moroccan indigenes.
Did I understand you to say grand sheik and is the same equivalence of sultan?
Right. Because remember that what Noble Drew Ali did is that he vested the temple, with the power of government in order for the Moors to take their place amongst the affairs of men. And when we say, enforce the Constitution, we're not only talking about enforcing the national constitution, but we're also talking about enforcing the domestic constitution, which is the constitution and bylaws that Noble Drew Ali had in all the temples, right? Because it was a standard that the people that claimed to be members of the Moorish movement live constitutionally. That was the prerequisite, that you have to be constitutional. If you're not constitutional, then don't worry, you're gonna get yourself in trouble and you're gonna get abused. Because that's what the standard is. The standard is for us to be constitutional. The standard is for us to recognize and accept the fact that Noble Drew Ali is a prophet, and everything that he did was to assist the Moors in getting out of the mental slavery that he knew that we had during that time. But again, once you study what Noble Drew Ali brought, and you recognize his position, you see that when he made a statement, for example, I came for the young and unborn, right? If he came for the young and unborn, then that means he didn't come for the adults that were around him at that time. They could front like he came for them, but he know that half those niggers are going to sell out, or he wouldn't have made the statement. He knew that those people that were around him during that time, he even made the statement, only a handful of you guys are going to be saved. And out of the handful of you guys that are going to be saved, after I save whoever's going to be saved, I'm going to have fingers left over. That's how few of you guys are going to be saved that's around me. Right? And once again, for example, when I first came into the information, trying to find out about Noble Drew Ali, right? Everybody would, have something to say, yeah, Noble Drew Ali is this, Noble Drew Ali is this prophet, you know what I mean? What do you call it? The parrot style, right? Where they just parrot the prophet. They just parrot him. Just repeat what he said, and because you're new to this information and you never heard it before, logically, you're gonna just go with it because you never heard it before, right? But then when you start, asking questions about certain things, like, okay, well, what kind of literature is there? Like, what could give me some literature that I can read about Noble Drew Ali. Oh, well, there's Circle 7, you know what I mean? But, that's $30. And there's a 101 questionnaire, and that's $15. And there's Moorish literature, and there's all these quotes that Noble Drew Ali said, you know what I mean? And that's, how much ever, price tags on everything, right? Now, the more Richard Neal Bey, right? Richard Neal Bey was the more that said, okay, you know what? Instead of me giving you stuff and giving you answers and whatever, how about you just come to Chicago and check out the temple for yourself and see what Noble Drew Ali taught, see what he brought for the Moors, Forget about me giving you stuff. How about you come? That's the only Moor that actually said come to the temple. Every other Moor that I tried to connect with was trying to sell me the Prophet's idea. Every other Moor. 1% of Moors actually said come to the temple. 99% of Moors were trying to sell me the Prophet's idea. Right? And then when I went to Mecca and I met with these Moors, I was there for a weekend. Me and my brethren Hanif went there for a weekend. And when we left there, we left with stack of stuff like this. Every single book that we would ever need, every single picture, junk drives with information, every single affidavit that we'll need. We left with charters, we left with all with no price tags on it. So when I hear Moors talk about, they had to pay $200 for charters, and they had to pay to get this, and they had to pay to get that, I already know, because we got everything for free. Literally, free. Everything. Every single thing. That's why I put out stuff how I put it out, because, I'm not going to hex myself and charge people for stuff I got for free. Because I will hex myself, because Allah is the one that guides the destiny of this movement. And you don't want to be messing around with Allah and playing games with people's birthright. Because it's theirs. It's yours. No, think about it just like government, right? If you went out and you checked off Barack Obama and he won, you're supposed to be up in his office telling him what to do. He's not supposed to be telling you what's going on. He's not supposed to be giving you orders. As soon as he gives orders, he's like, oh, hold on a second. Slow down. We put you in that seat. Now, being that it's a democracy, private corporation of European, inquisitionists, he's going to tell people what to do. Because that's what the plan is under a democracy, mob rule. And the mob is the gangsters, the guys in the suits and the ties. That's the mob. And they run this. And they're going to tell all their wards what to do. This is why you reserve your rights on all the contracts. So when the mob comes, you can tell, oh, hold on a second, I'm Moorish American, here's my nationality card, here's my paperwork, or, I don't have no nationality card or paperwork, you need to prove to me who you are before you even claim to be a mob and you're going to take some power over here. If you're going to tell me that you're IRS and you're here to collect taxes, but I don't see you in the Constitution, we have a big problem. We have a big problem. If you're going to tell me that, you're head of whatever, and you're not in the Constitution for the United States Republic, and you're telling me that this is a democracy, when you took an oath to the Constitution that says that Article 4, Section 4 is only a Republican form of government only, and you're telling me about democracy, and democracy is not mentioned in the Constitution once, and that's the supreme law of the land, we have problems. And you better get up out that seat. No different than all these constitutional articles that were in the temple, Act 6 with all members. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality. So if you have a Grand Sheik and he's saying, oh, well, it's okay, if you call yourself black and, purple people or whatever, you better get that guy out the seat. Because he's about to get ready to abuse you. And then stop blaming the temple, because the temple can't do anything to nobody but sit there. It's a building, it's an institution, right? But, that's the black mentality. That's how punks do, right? Just like the punks that, oh well, you know, a black girl went to school and the teacher cut off all her hair. The school system sucks. Not a school system. How about that teacher that cut off her hair? How about you go after her? And not only go after her, go after the principal, because he's down with it, because they hired her. If you're going to have this crazy lady, instead of teaching children, they're cutting off people's hair and all that stuff. Obviously, she's not qualified to be up in the classroom. Right? You know, if you have people talking about, yeah, well, you know, we want to vaccinate your child because, you know, the school says that children need the booster shot because, you know, there's rabies in the school, so we need to give them a shot. Since when is schools administering hospital protocol? You know what I mean? Isn't that a conflict of interest?
It's kind of like church and state.
Exactly. Right? Separation of powers. You know? But the bottom line is, know what Noble Drew Ali brought. Once you know what Noble Drew Ali brought, you'll be very, very clear as to what everybody else has to be doing out here. If you don't know what Noble Drew Ali brought, then you're leaving a window to get violated. And believe me, we get the amount of calls that I get calls from Moors all over Northwest Anexa. I was telling my brother today, I get more calls outside of Canada than people in Canada. Wanting to know about nationality and birthrights because they were just online researching and they saw our videos. People here don't even get down like that. People here don't even do what you're doing. I don't do this with people here.
You the reason why I had the idea of a Skype lecture.
You know? And it was, and you know, and how we got the idea was that we you know, because we used to do lectures out here, right? You know, we've been in the conscious community for a long time, you know, mid-90s. So we're not new to this, right? We've been doing this. And you know, we used to, I mean, like, when I say that we really only catered to ourselves, and if other people wanted to get down, cool, you can get down, but we really catered to ourselves, right? So there might be 5 of us, we all say, okay, who we gonna bring next week? All right, you know, we go through the DVDs, all right, let's bring Hemet. All right, let's try get a contact for Hemet. You know, call all over the place, boom, get a call. How much do you want to bring you to Toronto? Oh, I've never been there before. Yeah, I'll come there, you know, $600, that's it. Pay my flight, $600, and that's it, no problem, I'll come there. All right, bam, here's the money. Come on. Brought Hemet here, brought Booker T. Coleman here, brought like Autumn Ashanti and her dad here, brought D. Brad here, you know, David Farrell, Sisters Akina, Boyd Graves, Black Dot 3 times, Aline Bay 3 times, Professor Griff. Like, we brought mad people here. And then we realized, now hold on a second. Now, if we're gonna say $20 a head, right? And we paid $600 for, you know, fee or whatever. All right, you know, we expect at least 30 people, so we can, you know, at least get back what we paid or whatever. You know what I mean? Because we're not looking to, this is not no get rich quick scheme, right? This is, we paid all the expense, just like anybody else. We pay expense, you want to balance your books. You know what I mean? And it was loss every month, loss. Even knowing that there's going to be a loss, we still say, you know what, put down the money, let's just bring these people so at least we could connect with them. Forget about other people, because they don't even care about being conscious anyways. They're just coming because it's fashionable to be conscious. You You know what I mean? They're not coming because they really want to learn. They're not coming to Hemet ritual or Hemet lecture because they really want to learn about rituals and, you know, making a shrine and, you know, worshiping the ancestors or whatever. They just seen 50 Hemet DVDs and they just want to see him in person. And so they can say, oh yeah, I touched him, you know what I mean? I got a picture with Hemet or whatever. Right? So that's why we started doing Skype. So we said, you know what? It'll be a lot better instead of, because, you know, we're talking about a weekend time frame. So they're going to come in on Friday after, you know, majority of the plane trips. You're looking at 12 hours just from New York or whatever, because you're going to come, stopover is 5 hours or whatever like that. You know what I mean? Man's coming in here Friday night, you know, lectures on Saturday, right? Man's going to lecture for 4 hours, 5 hours, and then Sunday morning he's out of here. And not only that, after the lecture Saturday night, you know, like we need our time because, you know, we put our money down. So we have to get our little personal time to sit down and do like what we're doing with them. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it wasn't no big deal. They'll do it. You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing. But it became strenuous. Then we said, you know what? If you do Skype lectures, people can chill at their home, get a juice when they want or whatever. You know what I mean? Eat while they're doing the Skype lecture. And you don't even have to leave your house. You just chill in front of the computer. And you can talk for as long as you want. We have no limit on the Skype. You can just go off. And that's why we started doing it. And the first Skype lecture we did was with Taj and Raj. You know?
Y'all let people can chime in on the lectures?
Well, on the Skype ones? Or in the...
Yes.
Well, with the Skype ones, the issue with the Skype ones is that if you're not there in person, you have no input. Because the more people you have on it, the slower the connection is. You know what I mean? Now, you know, if we had the support like, you know, Oprah or whatever, you know, we can have 50 people up on it, like how she does. You know what I mean? You know? Like when they use Skype, they got the box and then the box and then the box and the box, and there's 4 people in the box, and you know what I mean? And they still have the little Skype logo up there and everything, and you wonder like, yo, what are you guys running?
Right.
You know what I mean? That your stuff is running like that, and when we try to bring one person on, you know, stuff scrambling, picture's not good, you know what I mean? Sound's not coming out good, you know what I'm saying? So we just keep it simple, keep it easy, so it could run smooth, and then we just put it out there for the world so they can get it after. You know what I mean? Still, you know, free of charge because it's the people's info, it's not our stuff. You know what I mean? And you know, we're getting to the time now where people need this right now. They think they need food, clothes, shelter. You need to understand nationality and birthrights, because that food, clothes, shelter is going to get taken away anyways if you don't understand nationality and birthrights. You still have no food, clothes, shelter just because you're a ward, and you don't want to be a ward when, you know, this thing starts kicking off. That's just like we were building today with the Trayvon trial and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And yo, like, you know, Zimmerman could walk. It's not looking too good right now for quote unquote black people. Because he could walk. You know? But then again, you know, on the other hand, you know, people are bringing it up like it's a race thing when it's not a race thing, because just like we read in the thing, you know, Peru's in South America. And his mom's from Peru, Zimmerman. So he's a Moor.
Yeah.
And Trayvon Martin's a Moor. So it's black on black crime on the highest level. Because you don't see this going on with you know, when Ray Ray shoots Pookie or whatever. There's not no going to court and all that. But just because it's a light skinned Moor and a dark skinned Moor, now you have something going on now. You know what I mean? It's a big deal now. You witnesses and court and judge and all that type of stuff for some black on black crime. Like that's literally what it is. Over and again, it's just like the KRS, the Black Cop song, right? Just like the KRS Black Cop. The black cop sees a black guy walking, and then he's bothering the black guy because he just wants to bother the black guy. You know what I mean? And that's a ploy. That was actually a systematic thing where they have the brother bothering the brothers because it's Inquisition slave trade practices going on in 2013. Hating on ourselves. That, oh yeah, this guy's walking around the neighborhood, he looks guilty, so I'm just gonna shoot this guy.
Hey.
You know what I mean? What are you talking about? Why you just leave him alone? But and then on another end, it's Dred Scott 2013 because Trayvon ain't no Martin. And Martin's a European, and sorry, but then on the other hand, his dad's a Mason, so we don't know if there's some, some ritual or something like that, for his dad to get higher up in the thing or whatever like that. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? Right? And then you look at the whole thing, well, he's going outside to go buy Skittles, which is calcifying his pineal gland, and then he's going out to go buy iced tea, which is calcifying his pineal gland. 8 o'clock in the night, raining, and the parents let him go outside, 8 o'clock in the night, go buy Skittles. You go buy Skittles 8 o'clock in the night. You know what I mean? Nighttime, people have to be drinking some hot cocoa or tea or something. Not eating Skittles. That's like when people have Coke and chocolate bar for breakfast.
Right.
Who has Coke and chocolate bar for breakfast? Logical people don't do that type of stuff there. You know what I mean? Right? Who's going out in the nighttime to go buy Skittles? And then, after the murder now, you have all these Negro black colored people now going out and buying Skittles in support of this guy. And wearing hoods when they know that hoods is a negative connotation and you're liable to get shot wearing a hood in some places. But they're talking about they're defending him. You know what I'm saying? And again, not to take nothing away, RIP and all that, but we got to look at things from a different lens. We got to stop looking at things from this slave lens that they have us looking at things. Because the slave perception is distorted. No matter how much Windex you use on the glasses, you're not seeing clear. Like you're not. You're going to have a distorted perspective all the time. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. Right? And again, the issue is, what if your status is corrected. If your status is corrected, then your mind frame is going to be corrected. If your mind frame is corrected, then your actions are corrected. And you're not going to be doing no crazy stuff like go outside to get Skittles at 8 o'clock in the night.
Right.
Like you're not going to do that. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate that's what it was. He could have chilled at home, had some cereal that night, and we wouldn't even be talking about this right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Zimmerman might not even see nobody outside. He was probably the only person outside that night.
Right.
Like it's like some and again, it's not taking away nothing. You know what I mean? Give Zimmerman the chair and all that because I'm all about eye for an eye. I don't play those ones about whatever, get life in prison or whatever. Nah, like strap that man to the chair and get him out of here.
Right.
Like just like he did to somebody, do back to him. You know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't deserve no life. Man did wrong. Right? No different than, if president, whether Asiatic, European or whatever, treason against the Constitution, talking about this is a democracy and, you know, we want to enforce democracy over the world and whatever like that, you know, and you're abandoning the Republic, you have to face firing squad. Nothing personal.
It's treason.
That's treason. You know how high that crime is in the international community? You mention treason in some next places, you go to China and say somebody's committing treason. See what happens to those people there. You know what I mean? You go to Iraq and these places or whatever, they say treason. See if they don't put you against a wall and stone you to death. You're not no firing squad, they stone you to death. You know?
Many blinds go.
Straight. You know? And again, it's not taking away anything, but you know, if we're gonna say, you know, it's like in Long Ships, right? You see the movie Long Ships with Sidney Poitier? All right, that movie's on YouTube. Go watch that movie. There's a part in that movie where he's testing his soldiers' faith in Allah, right? And they have this, I don't know if it's a torture device or whatever, called the Mayor of Steel, right? So he's going around to all the soldiers, you know, you believe in Allah, you believe in Allah, you believe in Allah, you know what I mean? You know, and one man says, yeah, I believe in Allah. He's like, all right, go ride the Mayor of Steel then. Prove to me that you believe in Allah, go kill yourself. If you believe in Allah, you don't have to worry about losing your life or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But that's a good movie to watch, because that was one of the ones where Sidney Poitier dealt with it. You know what I mean? Dealt with it, played the Moor. And you could see that he's not playing no black whatever when you watch the movie. It's clear that he's not playing no black African Sumerian guy. You know?
I got a question for you, brother.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just gonna say real quick that that's something we need to get out the habit of referring to ourselves as blacks. Even in conversation with other people. It doesn't matter because they don't understand.
Right. Yeah, and that statement right there is where I go with passive Moors. Passive Moors are the ones who, well, you know, the people aren't gonna get it if we call them Moors, so we gotta meet them on their level, so we gotta call them black, you know, so we can relate to them. No, call them who they are. Are you gonna try to relate to them and call them the slave brand that you know is a slave brand? You know what I mean? And that's how it is standard. Like even when I'm on the slave talking with Europeans and they pull it, well, they're not white. I'm like, you know you're not white. Come on. Where are you from? Well, my mom's German, my dad. So what are you saying that you're white for? Well, you guys call yourself black, so I just thought. Like that's what they say. That's their reply when they get tested on why you call yourself white. Like why are you saying that? Well, you guys say black, so I just figure, if you guys are black, then if I say white, then we'll be able to relate to each other or whatever. Like, not me, I'm not that one. I'm not that one. Don't go there with me. But yeah, there was a question?
Yeah, I got a question. I don't know if you are self-employed or do you kind of, work your own job, but I know we kind of briefly touched on it last week, whereby, there's a book, that was, I believe it was on RV Bay Publications about what you need to know about the IRS, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Might not have been on that website, but it was one of the ones you gave me.
Yeah.
One of the ones you gave us. And I know you had touched on if you don't pay your taxes or whatever on your job, because if you claim your nationality, you can actually stop them from taking your taxes. You
right.
You don't have to worry about that, but
I won't worry about it either.
What I'm saying is it's not a concern with you yourself, no. But Brother Keith and myself, we work a little slave 9 to 5, whatever you want to call it. And I know that if you're not playing the game with them, then they'll tend to let you go.
Is the IRS Discovery, that book Annie has all, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Correcting the position, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and basically what you're saying is, once you claim your nationalities and forms, you can fill out or whatever, but basically you do not wish to participate in their little game.
Yeah.
And lawfully, you have the position to do that.
Right.
But whether or not they keep you in their employ is another thing.
Is another thing, right? And like based on where we are as a people, right? We need that employ. Well, I need the employ because I had stores and stuff like that, and niggers don't support shit of their own.
You're right, they don't.
So forget them and all the talk. Yeah, right. Forget all that stuff about our own and support our own and whatever. I'm not even going there. I'm gonna go get me a job because I know I got certain qualifications that these people want, and they'll pay. If they want to tax, they can tax. It's okay because I already know that when time comes for tax time, I got my writs or whatever. I'm sending writs, and they're not getting nothing anyways. Because they're gonna say that I owe. Because when I go to the job, I put down that take the minimum out.
Yeah.
Right? And they're gonna take the minimum out, but then they should be taking the maximum out.
I know what you're saying.
Right? But why am I gonna let you take the maximum out when you could just take the minimum and you tell me right here that I could take the minimum. Alright, well, so take the minimum. And then send me the letter saying that I owe for the balance, and then I'm gonna send you a writ, and then you're not gonna reply, and I'm gonna send you default judgment or whatever, and then we be done with it.
We'll be square.
And we'll be square. You know what I'm saying? And I still have my job, it's not no issue because,
Because the issue is not with them, it was with the IRS.
Exactly. The issue's with the, right. Job doesn't care. You know what I mean? Right? And then on top of that, I'm not getting paid anyways because they're giving me fiat.
Right.
And then they're not taxing anyways because they're taxing fiat.
Right.
So they're not getting nothing, I'm not getting paid nothing, so we're still square.
Nothing nothing.
You know what I mean? We're still square. Right? And I get.
Silver coin and silver bullion, we talk.
Yeah, So if we're talking about, you're starting to pay me in silver and gold, then that's a whole different story now. You know what I mean? Now, nationality got to be put on the table now.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not taking no gold and silver in no slave name. That's for sure.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Right?
Change name with that.
Right. So
that was my question. So I just do things as they are, but
yeah, I mean it's just because of circumstance. You know what I mean?
Right.
If this was 1928, for sure, I'm going up in there, nationality card up. You know what I mean? You're changing the stuff. You're not taxing me or whatever, and we keep it moving. But based on the circumstances where we're at, what we're dealing with right now, it's not even, in my opinion,
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it for me personally, because I got, my own land. Well, if it's your own, how the blacks talk, well, if it's your own land, then why are you paying rent? Why don't you just buy the apartment that you live in? Why don't you just claim it or whatever? Well, yeah, if you would stop calling yourself black and call yourself Moor, then we'll have numbers to do that. But because you want to be a dumb nigger still, then I'm gonna learn to live within contracts. I ain't worried about you guys and what you think or don't think or whatever. You know what I mean? I know that I study so I can maneuver in this matrix.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's all my position is. Maneuver in this matrix. Because you're not gonna stop the matrix.
No.
You're not gonna stop the matrix, and then you don't want to get down with it 100%. You know what I'm saying? So the best thing is you just humble yourself, with the knowledge, because, you know, we could have all this knowledge, but we don't know anything. You know what I mean? The little bit of knowledge we have is a grain in the sand, you know, compared to the knowledge that's out there that we don't know. So it's not even anything to, it's not like me personally, I don't really sweat it like that. You know what I mean? But I know there's more that do, but you know, you gotta make sure that you change all this stuff, and you gotta, you know, whatever. It's like, nah. How about we uplift all of humanity first, and then we start worrying about getting things changed and whatever. Because even if I get this one thing changed, I'm not gonna feel comfortable knowing that, well, I proclaim my nationality, I'm working, they're not taxing me, but then 90% of the people, my brothers and sisters, they're getting taxed. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to put them on nationality, and they don't want it. Even though I have documented proof to show them that, you know what, they're not taxing me. They still don't want it.
No, they don't.
You know what I mean? Right? I'm not selfish like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But when I was asking you, I personally wasn't thinking about doing that, because I know how they are. It's like David and Goliath situation right now.
Right.
But David is like 10 times smaller than the original David, and Goliath is like 100 times smaller.
Yeah. For real.
That is an example or illustration. But I was going to say, as far as the way you and I are, the way we're all discussing working in the matrix, I'm saying, okay, well maybe I just go to my quote-unquote human resources or personnel department or payroll and tell them that I need to fill out another W-4 form. We signed the W-4 form with my UCC 1-103 and 207 on there.
Yeah.
And then that way that, you know, you're not really participating because you will draw your signature at any time, like you said, claim nationality.
Right.
Just reserve your rights when you at least, if you're taxed, you at least you reserve your rights. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. But again, remember too that every contract that we sign is adhesion.
Okay.
So that makes it void automatically.
So don't you need to go through that either?
So you know, I mean, you can, right? You can, but you know, flags might go up. Like, why you wanna sign a new thing right now? You know what I mean? Like, you know, because that's how they think. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's. I would say to give it some consideration. You know what I mean? Right? Prior to making the move. You know, consider all the pitfalls and you know what could really happen, or you know, do a little bit more research on contracts. You know, there might be you know, a clause in it that makes it void, that you can bring up in order to get them in order to sign a new one.
They have it's a good lecture on Civil Alert Radio about what we're talking about. I believe, was it Shael?
Yeah.
I believe that was the name. He's out of Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
IRS.
Right. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's you know, like we were talking about, there's so many ways to deal with them. You know, there's many ways to deal with them. You know, but it ultimately comes down to, before you deal with them in any way you deal with them, you have to have nationality. You know, you gotta have nationality first before you even deal with them or challenge them or whatever. That should be the focal point is nationality. You know what I mean? It's like when people say, you know, well, yeah, I heard about this Moorish thing, and I wanna get my right to travel. That's the first thing out their mouth when you talk nationality or whatever. You know, you already know that person's looking to go out there and get injured. you know, because you have to be what you know. This is not like, you know, riding a bike or whatever. You just jump on and just pedal because, you know, you never forgot how to do that. This is a whole new thing that you don't even know what this is, you know, and it takes extensive re-education, because we've taught ourselves wrong. People have taught us wrong for so long that, you know, you want to make sure you have a good grasp on this before you start going out there and doing stuff. Because like you're saying, it's David and Goliath, and you know, if you don't know how to shoot a slingshot and he has a sword or whatever, you don't go like Taj said, don't go picking fights. Don't go picking fights. Just chill for a little bit, get your little training on, you know what I mean? Practice a little bit, and then maybe try some stuff on some low level. You know what I mean? Try, you know, if you want to do, you know, change, correct the name on stuff, try on the low level. Try with your phone bill. Call those people up. Put that in your free national name. You know, call up the gas company or whatever. You know what I mean? Deal with those people there. Start on that level. You know? Don't first go to your job where, yeah, I thought about nationality, here's my paperwork, you know what I mean? You guys need to change this right now because I'm a Moor now and you can't tax me and all this type of stuff. Like you know, they can say, all right, fine, later. They have that right. Because why would they hire a national that they can't tax? It's not beneficial to them. There's no benefit in that. They lose. And those people don't like to lose. You know, losing isn't an option for them. You know, I mean, it's getting to a stage where they have no choice. You know what I mean? Because the amount of people are waking up, it's you know, that's what's going to happen. They are going to lose, and they're going to lose big. They're going to lose bigger than if they would have just said, you know what? Here's your 40 acres and a mule. You know what I mean? They could have did that and not have to worry about none of this right now, because you know brothers and sisters, they would have got a 40 acres and a mule. They would have been chilling with that. That would have been good enough. You know, but now you're talking about people, you know, reclaiming birthright and all that. You know, and they're trying to get people out of here. You know, certain people who don't have visas and all that, that they should have those so they can go back where they come from. You know what I mean? And people who they're calling immigrants need to get nationalized so they can step themselves up, right, and stand up on their nationality and birthrights and stop being the immigrants. You know, when the people in power are the real immigrants that need to go back, get deported. You know, but you know, freedom comes with knowledge.
Back to Europe.
You know?
Any more questions? I'd like to know when we as a true owner are going to start working on our paperwork.
Yeah, it's and again too with the, you know, you wanna build a network. You want to build a network with active Moors, right? There are some good Moors out there, right? And you get with active Moors, and they'll put you on to other active Moors. So it's not going to be an issue of trying to figure out, well, you know, should I deal with these Moors? Should I deal? Well, I don't know if I can. You know, once you deal with active Moors, it's going to be active Moors across the board. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't had active Moors that put me onto Moors. I never had no issues with. But when you have religious Moors put you on the Moors and passive Moors put you on the Moors, you know, you get dirty Moors sometimes, you get, you know, semi-dirty Moors, you know what I mean? You know, the ratio of connecting with Moors that aren't really square is higher if you don't deal with active Moors. You know what I mean? Because Drew Ali said that all Moors are active. All Moors are active. So if there's Moors that aren't active, then more likely they're not Moors. In the sense of, you know, not bloodline, you know, because everybody's Moors, but as far as their activity, their demonstration, you know, those are niggers with fezzes on, blacks with fezzes on, Negroes, Africans with fezzes on, you know, because you can't go wrong with active Moors. Straight.
Some of them want to slap to the death.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, if we were to consider, right, again, that when Noble Drew Ali was around, he said himself that he came for the young and unborn. Right? Why is he gonna say that he came for the young and unborn and not mention any Moors his age or older and that he came for them? And the ones that he did reference to that he came for them, he said he's gonna have fingers left over the amount of them that he's gonna save. So he never really came for those people that were around him back then. He came for us. He came for the Moors who he said, you know, are going to be coming to this movement with their eyes open, seeing and knowing, and they're going to fulfill the law. Right? Why are they going to fulfill the law? Because they study, and they've been studied. Study is not something new to us. Knowing ourselves isn't something new to us. We just were missing the Moorish piece. But majority of us, we've been studying. You know what I mean? We already know who built the pyramids and all that, and there's pyramids in China and, you know, Cambodia and Angkor Wat, and, you know, the Shiva's a blue guy, and like we already have a certain degree of knowledge. But what we were missing was that Moorish piece, the final piece to the puzzle, to put everything together, seal up all the edges and make sure that everything is, you know what I mean, spick and span. That's the only thing that we were missing. And once we got that, then, it was on. From that point on, it was on. Because we knew that we already had everything else, and, you know, we were missing that last part to make this whole. And now that we have it, we have an obligation now to go out and redeem all those other people out there who think they got it. You know? And they're gonna call everybody else's name, but they're never ever called Noble Drew Ali's name. And they know about him. It's not like they don't know about him. No. They're very clear about who he is. No. And again, once you get with active Moors, you would, one, get a better perspective of what Noble Drew Ali brought, and two, take the onus on yourself to do those things that we're waiting for people to do for us. Right? Because, you know, like for example, all the paperwork's out there. You go on RV Bay alone, and Moorish Nation Public Records alone, you can draft up your own nationality package. just from those two sites and the information that's on those two sites, you could draft up your own nationality paperwork. You know? Right, and then that's why I don't stray. Because, you know, active Moors are gonna put out the info. You're not gonna have to, you know, register to their university online to get the information. That you know, that they got from somebody for free. You know? Or you're not gonna have to go to, you know, Dean Clifford and watch all these guys to try to get a perspective of, you know, how to deal with the IRS and how to deal with, you know, whatever. It's not necessary. Nationality is the order of the day. You put your nationality down, everybody's position is stopped right there. It just depends on how hard you stand on it. And then also too, I forgot, go on to youtube.com/made tangible. Right? Made tangible. MADE tangible. And then that's on Brother Fonteas YouTube. And on his YouTube he has audio. He has a lot of audio stuff.
I have him. I think I have him on my YouTube. He commented on one of my he commented on one of my pieces that I did on there. I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, Made Tangible. And then on his YouTube he has audio. He has audio recordings of him talking to public servants over the phone. And those are dynamite. Those are dynamite. Those will give you a perspective of how to talk to those people. You know, IRS and certain people. You know, and again, you know, when you listen to it, you'll see that it's not a thing that, you know, Moors are mad or Moors are angry at anybody or whatever. We're just straight to the point and we deal with law, which majority of people don't deal with, so it comes across intimidating or, you know, hard. But it's the truth, and the truth does hurt. But it's okay because it's the truth. So, you know, a little hurt ain't nothing if it's the truth. Yeah, man.
I got other questions for the night, brother. Cujo, we always appreciate your time.
Yo, no problem. No problem. I appreciate it.
What you told us last week, I went over to a lot of reading this week. I think there's a couple of books I'm going to try to get this coming week when I get paid, so I can actually start to really structure some of my studying.
Yeah.
Instead of bouncing all over the place.
Right. Well, I mean, so sometimes the bouncing around is good because, you know, you when you bounce around, you find needles in haystacks sometimes.
I'm good for that.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, and as well too, like, you know, we don't really have time for entertainment and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, we need to get this study on, like for real. You know, we need to get this study on. You know, nothing's wrong with you know, TV and whatever. You know, I mean, you could, you know, going out and whatever like that. But, you know, if we have you know, 24 hours a day, and, you know, we have 3 hours, 4 hours of study time, and, you know, all this other time to do all this other stuff, we're killing it. We're wasting time. You know, even though, you know, time doesn't exist, you can't really waste it, but you know what I mean? You know. Another book that you can talk to Heru about is What's in a Name.
I saw that. I wrote it down too.
Yeah. This is another good one. And then he has a new one that he just put out called Who is Allah to the Moors? He just brought that book out. Well, you had a question or a comment, sis?
Yeah, I was just thinking, when the police when they kidnapping you, isn't that also piracy?
Yeah, oh yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
So it's human trafficking and piracy.
Right. No, but how they get away with it? How they get away with it is that we continue to call them police and officer and all these other things when we should call them public servant, mercenaries, you know, European inquisitionists. You know what I mean? You know, once we call them police and officer and those things, we give them the power to abuse us and kidnap us and do these things. You know? But, and it's like Sister Annie said that, you know, her perspective is study so much that you don't have the brainwash popping out of you when you don't want it. You know what I mean? Study so much that you'll catch yourself when you say stuff. You know, it's like when we first came into the information that, you know, we're not Negro, black colored, and you know, sometimes we might say black and we'll stop, oh yeah, I'm not black, I can't say that or whatever. The exact same thing with everything, with like the police thing, and you know, and you know, it's a process, because again, we've been under such a brainwash that, you know, clearing that up is going to be no joke. Clearing that up is going to be serious work. You know what I mean? Getting those T's crossed and I's dotted in our speech. You know, when we talk about certain things, because they did it. Well, I mean, you know, they did a number, but we did a bigger number on ourselves. You know, we did a bigger number on ourselves. Oh yeah, and we were talking about the indigenous rights too. You can get the Rights of Indigenous Peoples booklet on RVB as well. Yeah, RVB and Moorish Guideposts. I think this one is from Moorish Guideposts with Grand Sheik Nature. Yeah, this is Nature's book. Yeah, so this one is off Moorish Guideposts. MoorishGuidepost.com. Yeah. Right. And the paperwork thing again, just check the Moorish Nation public record site.
First Nation.
Yeah, and there's lots and lots and lots of writs on that site right there. Ample amounts of writs.
I was looking at that. It was a whole.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of ammo on that site right there.
Yeah, I was reading the whole thing.
Yeah.
So like 8 some 12, just reading. Yeah, I saw them. So basically, we would just have to get the correct. We want to use the word address to properly designate where we live in Saginaw, Michigan. We put in our papers and everything. Yeah.
Right.
Name correction. Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing all that.
And remember too. Don't forget RVB. RVB has the Writs of Freedom page, and on the Writs of Freedom page, I think they have like the name correction and some other things. So it's just about the nationality paperwork would be a compilation of a lot of those things. You know what I mean? You know, judicial proclamation and name correction, right to travel. You know, all those things. Actually, what I'll do is I'll email you the template that we use out here for our paperwork.
They
right?
have a student ID.
Say that again?
Have a student ID on RV.
Yeah. You know, and also too, if it's a situation where you are at that there isn't a temple, then use the RV base site to get the nationality cards, etc. Right? And speak with them about setting up to have a Great Seal Association of Moorish Affairs out there, because that could act as your temple. Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs.
Great Seal National
Association of Moorish Affairs. And anywhere, any you know, if there's any sites or links or whatever that I send you to, just tell them Cujo sent you. That way, you know, you kind of have an in. You're not just a wanderer just going on their site.
Right.
You know, because they get a lot of wanderers.
Let's wake up just to put it in their head, put a book in it. These to be the key answer.
Yeah.
Oh, you do music, Brother Cujo?
Yeah, you could if you you can go on YouTube and you can just Google or not Google, just YouTube search Canaanland Moors Iron Sheik. IRONSHEIK. And then you could do Iron Sheik, you can do Iron Sheik Moorish MC. You could do Iron Sheik 5. What else is up there? Try those ones. That'll lead you to. Or you could do Iron Sheik Mix CD. Iron Sheik Rapper Inquisition.
So once I pull up Iron Sheik, probably all of the stuff that's related will probably come up on the
Yeah.
I let Keith listen to it. He said, "Oh, that was him." I had this song. This song he said, "They're walking around thinking they the baddest, thinking they the baddest, walking around in dead status."
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, that was him."
Yeah. You know, yeah, and I mean, I've been doing the music since the 80s. You know, and then when I got onto the Moorish information, I just had to implement it. You know, had to implement it, and I haven't turned back since. You know, yeah. So I'm working on my new album right now, Iron Sheik 5. Yeah. So.
I appreciate the lecture for tonight.
Yeah, man, no problem. Anytime. This is what we gotta do. You know what I mean? That's what we gotta do. Because
Keep saying opera.
Also, what you mean?
don't worry, we can get just put that nationality and birthrights in there. We do some more opera albums. Do some more opera albums, man. We need it all, yo. We need it all. Yeah, we could close out with a prayer. Five on the left, two on the right. We need it all, trust me. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam, Islam, Islam. Peace.
Appreciate it, man.
For sure, yo. Appreciate you, Mars, too. And we'll get this going again. What were we saying? After today, we're gonna do every 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, like every other week.
Every other week. All right. Yeah. So now next week after.
Yeah.
All right.
That's 12.
12. All right. Yeah. We'll set up. All right, Moise. Y'all have a good night and a good weekend.
All right.
I will.
All right. Good night.
Good night, family.